We've got a few little pieces of comic news coming from a couple different sources. Nothing earth-shattering or big, but just it's Monday, and let's get everybody kind of up to date on a few of the things going on, changing. So we're prepped for a week. I'm throwing this out as a prediction. I think we're going to get some bigger news this week. It feels like a couple shoes are going to drop. Not ominous things. I'm not teasing some big thing, but I do think we're going to get a bit of news. This is the week that it's expected that some of the information bubbling out of DC's plans for 2021 are going to come out, and also we will get at least some early look at some of Marvel's plans. So I think this is just going to be a big news week. Let's get you going with a couple little pieces. Hey everybody, this is Perch, talking some just general news coming out, and I think that tomorrow's Joker Warzone is one of those comics that, at least with some of the material that has come out and that we've heard, it's going to bring a few news stories to the mix. It's going to kind of force some of DC's 2021 plans to the surface, and maybe some of the characters we're going to be looking at, some of the properties that we expect to get going. And I think that combines with the Three Jokers, which has its own little kind of moment in it that there was an earlier video about. I won't spoil it for you here, but that's, of course, going to be talked about. There continues to be some people put in the comments of that video, is Three Jokers in continuity or not? And the big answer is not. But it's people are being fast and loose with it. I think you're going to see this a lot more from DC, where they're basically going to come out and say, it's not in continuity, but it could be. Or, a better way, maybe a more cynical way to put it is, this isn't, this will either be in or out of continuity depending on the fan reaction to it. Is maybe that's kind of the way that I think things are going to start to look. Unless we're talking about true different imprints like the Deceased or the White Knight series, and those are clearly in their own little universes. But anyway, moving, kind of the big news, at least in my mind, is the Keanu Reeves BRZRKR comic by Boom. It's a 12-issue series. It's a comic series, and it's coming out from Boom. And then there's this Kickstarter that made a ton of noise and progress. At the last minute, they changed artists to Ron Garney for reasons. I don't know. We've heard clearly those reasons, but at any rate, their Kickstarter goal was set at $50,000. It easily blew past that to at last check, it's nearing 1.2 million, and it's got a couple days to go. It's going to pass $1.25 million, I think, pretty comfortably, and it is late. Big shock! It's like the crowdfunding curse is upon it. So they're saying that it's going to be pushed back by at least 4 months, and that the art change is the reason why, although Ron Garney's pretty quick. So we're now looking at this thing, which was going to come out in this year, is going to change to February for the first issue, and then proceed accordingly. And it's it's going to be on a 6-week publication special. So rather than coming out October 7th, this is a very late. This is, like a week and a half away from when it was supposed to come out. So October 7th is apparently when this was supposed to come out. It's going to come out in February and then proceed every 6 months after that. So this title will go into 2022, basically, is what we're looking at there. Over in DC, there's been at least some talk ever since a little preview art was done showing Grifter showing up in Batman 101. We're now hearing a lot that we're going to see quite a few of the Wildstorm characters in 2021, and that is going to be a bigger kind of piece. There's another kind of anthology, the Dark Knights, some of the death metal books that are coming out. We've seen a couple of the referencing the bleed. This was something that the Authority had a spaceship called the Carrier, and it traversed the bleed to kind of travel between areas. That trying to describe this in the simplest possible way, but at any rate, the ship does make an appearance there. in this comic, and Grifter is showing up very much as a bodyguard for Lucius Fox. And it looks like Lucius Fox is at least putting together or has some level of kind of team or protection. Batman references, knowing Grifter from the past, and so it feels like that Batman and kind of that corner of the universe is going to be used to bring in more of the WildCATS and that old property from Jim Lee. Jim Lee has made some hints. Basically, this is coming, so we look like we're getting quite a bit of more of WildCATS. It makes sense that this is a property they want to pursue, but it looks like that entry is going to be happening potentially from Batman. The other piece, I think, kind of information it's a little bit too early to kind of say what's going on, is that we do, of course, we're having the Ten of Swords series that is happening right now, and we've already been informed that we've got Sword by Al Ewing coming at the end of all this. Is kind of an outcome. We have a new title. It's a bold move. I mean, you kind of have to do it for scheduling, but I smile cynically a little bit at the fact that we get these events going, and typically speaking, you have a new title that spins out of the event. But based on timing and kind of the frequency of events, we now have to announce the new title before the event even kind of gets going. So it's like, good gravy. I mean, it is quite a bit. As a reader, I'm always frustrated by these things, because in the preview art for Sword, we see Magneto and we see Banshee. We see some characters in there. And so we're like, well, those characters are clearly going to survive Ten of Swords. I mean, there probably wasn't any doubt of that anyway. But to me, it always lessens the impact of these stories when you tease up a comic launching after the event and there's some characters running around. It's like, well, okay, I start thinking in my head, well, that character's safe, this character's safe. At any rate, there's another new X-Men title. Supposedly it's coming kind of right after that one. Now, we've heard that there's a kind of a Moira limited series book that's on the horizon. We've heard of this X-Corp back and forth for a while. Of course, we're getting Children of the Atom, the Vita Ayala book. It's coming out still. That one's been announced, but there's either it's the Moira book, the X-Corp book, or yet a different book. But we will get another Dawn of X book, I think, from what I'm understanding, announced here in the next couple weeks, that or at least something is going to come out. So there we go. We're getting more Dawn of X books. It's not enough. We can have we can have even more. Last bit of news I'll kind of throw out there as a little bit of thing to mention. I've heard that, and I think he's trying to make some appearances. DC is going to do more with Guy Gardner in 2021, and in general, hearing quite a bit of news. So this is sounding more like Rumor Town than News Town. So I wish I had an actual book to promote, but it does sound like we will get some pretty firm Green Lantern plans here rolling out in the next few days, and that'll be good to see kind of what's going to happen after Grant Morrison concludes his run, which is nearly at its end with Liam Sharp. And Green Lantern, obviously that character and the entire property is something that I know DC would love to do more with and really kind of get behind. So I think we're going to get a creator announcement and sort of a book plan fairly imminently. So hopefully very, very soon we hear that. But Green Lantern is also slated as a 2021 priority for DC Comics, which, that makes sense. Other than that, it's like I said, I think we're going to get a pretty interesting comic news week this week. I think there's some various specials that are coming out. There's some different pieces. I think we're going to start to, you may have noticed we're hearing a lot more about Disney Plus's Marvel announcements and kind of everything that's going on. We do get. We've already got the kind of the first set photos and some of the pictures of, the John Walker Captain America that's going to be kind of the antagonist in the Falcon and Winter Soldier photo. So that's interesting. At least we still, I think that the general Marvel shows is still all over the place. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of hilarious that the Marvel content, after having kind of Infinity War and what they've done with Spider-Man and the Avengers and kind of all this material. This year, we're going to basically get WandaVision as the as the only thing out of Marvel, which is pretty nuts if you think about it. It'll be interesting to see ultimately what happens. So that's basically kind of the recap to get you started with the week. As I said, I think we're going to have a lot more happen. Any of this stuff interest you? Green Lantern, Wildstorm making an appearance? Are you bummed because Berserker is delayed? Are you hyped for another X-Men book? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications if you're into that. Follow me on social media, email, yeah, all that kind of stuff. Most importantly, thanks for listening.